Hi, my friend. Today we will understand the obstacles in the journey of self discovery. Self discovery leads to total end of suffering, sorrow, insecurity, freedom, or liberation is the goal of Eastern wisdom. Why we are not able to reach to that state? So we have understood that the knowledge is not realized instantly. The way the seed does not become a tree overnight, we have to take a baby step, continue the journey, and practice. Ultimately, it releases all the obstacles. Our great master talks about 9 obstacles on the path. 9 obstacles. So, once we have a correct understanding of these 9 obstacles on the path, our process of evolution, or you can say our practice, brings greater and the greater results. They are known as antaraya. That we will take deeply later what it means. But normally we can say, you see that physical illness, that is the first obstacle. The second is the dullness, languor. Third obstacle on this path is doubt, indecision. Fourth is the carelessness, negligence. Fifth is the laziness. Sixth is the overindulgence or clinging to the things. Seventh is the delusion. Or eighth, you can say that non-attainment of results in meditation. You are doing the practice, but the mind is constantly agitated inside, so you don't get the result, and then there comes a frustration. And the ninth is quite interesting obstacle. You have been doing the practice regularly, but what happens that knowledge, that realization, that state is not experienced within, even though you are calm. Sometimes we feel aloof, etc., etc. So these are the 9 obstacles. We will take one after the other. Why? Because once we have a right knowledge about these obstacles, we can counter them. But if we don't have a right knowledge, that wrong knowledge becomes our habit, our attitude. Many people say, I have to skip a session because I'm not feeling well. And I tell them, because you are not feeling well, you must attend the session and you must practice. You see, a common wrong notion that we have in our mind. I don't feel like doing it. From where it has come? I do not feel like doing it. It is an obstacle. Now I know I can do it and still I don't do it. Obstacle. So the majority of the obstacles enters in our life in this journey pertains to the mind, wrong notions, habits, and our impulsive reaction. Science says that the 99% of our problems, sorrow and the suffering caused by the is of the psychosomatic origin. What is this psychosomatic word? First is the mind. I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing it, and the mind repeats it again and again. And this thought with the feeling and the emotion travels to the body. It makes the body lazy. Then that thought returns into the mind. It converts, it changes the thought pattern. You see that? I'm feeling so heavy, so it's better not to do it. So what is psychosomatic? Any wrong idea triggers in the mind first. It travels to the body and then returns to the mind, and I say, no, I don't want to do it. You don't like a person, body doesn't like a person, body has no consciousness. So the mind has an image that person I don't like, I don't like, I don't like, I don't like. So the mind is repeating it. Now that person comes in front of you and your body changes. The expression of the body changes. See that? Psychosomatic. And then the mind takes a stand. Now I'm ready to react. I'm ready to be in anxiety. It happens with our near and dear ones. But see that what we are doing, we want to discover our real nature. That is the goal. And that real self is permanent happiness. Ananda means permanent happiness, wisdom, truth, love. It doesn't need anyone outside, anything outside to be happy. Means that is our essential nature. We may ask, if it is my essential nature, then why I am suffering? Then why I have anxiety? Why I have stress? Why I have duality? Why I have delusion? Because our mind that is fed up with the wrong idea and the notions, it instantly owns unhappiness, sorrow, and suffering. Did you understand that part? Our mind owns unhappiness. It likes to own unhappiness. It likes to grab sorrow and the suffering because it is not aware of the real self. The mind superimposes the ideas of the mind with the wrong notion. I don't feel like doing it. Now it's a superimposition. I feel heavy. Now I'm not feeling good, that's why I did not join your session. Remember this statement again and again. The moment you are surrounded by any sorrow, suffering, anxiety, duality, conflict, frustration, failure, mind wants to own unhappiness. And what is the practice? You disown unhappiness. Finished. I don't feel like doing it. You disown this thought. Get ready, do the practice, you get the result. So this attitude, this thought, these thoughts, wrong notions, huh? In Eastern wisdom we say adhyasa, or you may add a word delusion also here for the time being until we go deeper into the journey. So this superimposition enters into the mind because I do not know it. So what should be the next step? That I should know it. So when I know these obstacles, their root cause, then we can get out of the suffering. So we say in Eastern wisdom, it's a delusory knowledge causes more suffering, and we continue with the delusory knowledge. No, I am not a seeker, how can I do? You have to do it to become a seeker. If you don't do anything, how can you become a seeker? I am seeking. Second problem is that why the delusion takes place? Because I am seeking happiness outside in the world, from the people near and the dear ones, from my relations, from the money, from all the resources outside. No resource outside can give us that state of the happiness. No resource can give me the ultimate security. It can never deliver total freedom from the fear and the sorrow. So the first thing, that the knowledge should be right and correct. And that is what we are listening to me.
Looking for a match now.
So once we get the right knowledge, we should be ready to renounce and drop the false knowledge. I don't feel like doing it. I feel heavy. No, I have. I don't like this. You see? I'm unable to do this. These thoughts? Look at these thoughts and repeat these thoughts. I'm unable to do, I'm unable to listen, the time will come, you will stop listening. And because we do not become aware how the mind is responding, that mind contains the delusion, the wrong ideas and the notions, and we fall back. So we can say that this delusory knowledge creates an obstacles on the path of self-discovery. You have been living a life of like a seeker. You have written to me, you told me again and again why that thought comes to your mind, because you have been pursuing the path regularly with commitment, with sincerity. The result is obvious. So that these obstacles are nothing but the delusory knowledge, and our mind makes outer conditions, our body, our mind, our thought process responsible for these obstacles. So it means all these obstacles first perceived in the mind, and if the mind perceives that obstacle with the right knowledge, the majority of these obstacles drop from my life. But it takes time. You have to practice, you have to understand, you have to recall these principles again and again and again. So let us go to these obstacles, 9 obstacles as we said. So these obstacles are known as antaraya. They disturb the mind, causes impurities, distraction, delusion, forgetfulness. See that? So these disturbances enters into the mind are manifold. There is a famous saying, misfortunes do not come in one. They come from all the sides. So that misfortune enters into the mind because of delusion, because I do not know the right knowledge. So there are two ways of understanding: move directly to the right knowledge, or recognize these obstacles or these elements of misfortune in our life. And once we have a correct understanding, then the problem disappears. We do not notice smaller things in our life by which these obstacle enters into our mind, and then the mind says, I own unhappiness, I own sorrow. You disown them, but disowning needs a right understanding, clarity. Vyadhi. Vyadhi is the first obstacle on this path. Vyadhi is a Sanskrit word which means physical illness, you can say, or physical discomfort. Physical discomfort. But in the journey of the Eastern wisdom, we consider constant fidgeting, itching, discomfort during the practice of meditation is also a physical illness. And the second physical illness is second group, we already know. Lot of challenges that we face in our body. So you see that many people complain that they are not able to sit in meditation for a longer period. That is not your issue. If that is not your issue, but still we need to gain the right perspective. Sometimes what happens, your sincerity and the commitment takes over these visiting. You are inspired. You are committed. With that commitment, you are doing the practice. And obstacles at this level goes away. Any physical illness has a body and the mind connection. When there is a disturbances in the mind because of delusion, it travels to the body, returns to the mind again, causes the psychosomatic illnesses. So what is the right solution? If we do not allow the mind to travel to the body with its habit, with its anxiety and other challenges, this obstacle can be removed. So it can be removed by reminding that peace is my essential nature at the mental level. Not doing overexertion, overeating, gossiping, they all move the mind to these challenges at the physical level. Yoga Nidra is one of the best practice that should be done during the day, even for 5 minutes. And is a simple way of doing the Yoga Nidra is moving the mind on the entire body again and again. First on the major parts of the body, then on the entire body, and recognizing the sensations of relaxation and calmness. If you do it continuously, that Yoga Nidra, even for 6 months, just for 5 minutes, couple of times a day, the time will come when you can do the Yoga Nidra even with eyes open, even in activity. It is all about moving the mind in the body consciously to remove contents of the mind that has entered unconsciously into the body. This is one aspect. Second aspect is that according to Ayurveda, we see that when we have a disequilibrium between the 7 humors caused by the Vat, Pitta, Kapha, then we have these problems. This is one aspect. 3 dosha, 7 humors. Let me simplify it. My head should be right, means my intellect should think rightly in the direction of the self-discovery from morning till we fall into sleep. Second, this heart. The heart should not accept any idea and the thought of wrong notions. Third, the belly. Our digestive system must be perfect. So it means you avoid overeating, undereating. You eat whatever you like, but that liking should not become a craving. And both our legs, extremities, both our legs should be working. Because if they are not working, the mind causes the you see that I cannot do anything even if I cannot stand. So we have to do something for the head, right knowledge, for the heart or the mind, desire management. Third, proper digestion and assimilation of food, and the fourth, proper working of our extremities. This is the first obstacle. That is why we constantly feel, or rather we can say we are subjected to challenges in the body. One of the most important thing, because of the mind with the wrong notion and ideas, that enters into the body, and then the body experiences incapacity, not able to do the things. I had a good friend, who has been doing the sessions for many, many years. So recently, he was talking to me. He said, that I cannot get out of the bed. What should I do? I said, do the practice while being in the bed. So the moment you do the practice, every practice raises the awareness of your mind. I have another friend who is suffering from Parkinson. On some days, her body remains totally quite still, immobile. And she says, how this can happen? But this is happening. But the mind says, how this can happen? But this is already happening. And now she is totally committed to this journey in spite of the challenges in the body. So one way you can say our practices are very strong and powerful. On the other side, if you are sincere and committed, we can do these practices in any state of the body. After the physical illness, the first obstacle, the second obstacle on the path is what we say styan. What is styan? It means the mind says, I am disinterested in doing anything. It is the state of inactivity of the mind. We normally say, I do not feel like doing. I have lost enthusiasm. When we lose interest, not committed in the journey of meditation, it is what we say, a mental challenge. Whatever we like, we have a craving for something. The mind says, I am ready to do this. That causes the trouble. But here, mind still says, I am not interested, disinterested. I have lost enthusiasm. I lose interest in the mind. Committed in the journey of meditation. This obstacle also means that I feel a sense of heaviness in the body and the mind. So that heaviness in the body, mind says this, but that heaviness does not mean that my weight of the body has increased. Why this problem happens? This problem happens because the mind withdraws. Why the mind withdraws? Because it is unclear, one, and it is unable to focus. It is unclear, then I have an element of delusion. And that leads to the feeling of heaviness in the body and the mind. The sthana, you can also say it is a kind of dullness. And that dullness kills enthusiasm and the energy. It is already there. Energy is perfect. Everything is good. But still, the mind creates the wrong notion that I don't feel like doing it. Then we lose enthusiasm. we lose the interest, then our commitment breaks up, and so remember, this is a very serious problem in the journey of the self-discovery. So what happens? First, I don't feel like doing it, but I have a problem, so I do it today. But when I'm doing it, I constantly feel in the mind that, I don't feel like doing it, I have done it, but see that there is no result. So it slows down the intensity of the practice. And when it slows down the intensity, it decreases your commitment and sincerity. So you see that when the mind is, the dullness is working on your mind, what your mind will say, oh, no problem, the practice is good, but I will practice tomorrow, and the tomorrow never comes. But your mind in delusion gives the reason. I will practice tomorrow. Why I'm not practicing today? Because I'm not feeling well. What I'm not feeling well? Because I feel heaviness. Remember, you have to guard your mind with these thoughts. Now, in the same problem, in the second obstacle of dullness, the mind starts saying, oh, maybe the practice is not for me. Do you say eating is not for you? Going to the restroom is not for me? No, that is totally different thing. Why it is different? Because if you don't go to the restroom, you have a fear in your mind that it will create more problem. If you don't eat, the hunger kills. You have a feeling of insecurity. That is why you are going there. Can you guide your mind? Can you become aware and attentive to these thoughts? First, throw these thoughts away from the system. I don't feel like doing it. I will do it tomorrow. Maybe the practice is not good for me. Maybe the teacher is not good for me. What I am seeking is not fulfilled. Do you know what is the right seeking? So, normally, by habit, we start with the second obstacle on the path. But at the same time, the past impressions, the way we have lived our life in the past, with all the crazy thoughts, they return again with a greater force. And they start wandering. And when they start wandering, you are not clear about what you are doing. That clarity is lost. And that gives rise to the second problem that is known as styan or dullness. So understand that this dullness blocks the right knowledge and the right thinking. You should be aware. It means, how long I have to. We are living our life. You are human beings. The morning you wake up, you should have the thoughts of the real self. Peace is my essential nature. Happiness is within me. Resolve. I will live in permanent peace and happiness today. I will not allow the mind to live with those thoughts and ideas and the wrong notions that creates the second obstacle. So there is another reason why this obstacle enters into our mind. First, the mind says there is too much of mental fatigue, heaviness, psychological strain. Well, first the mind feels that. So now there is a mental fatigue, heaviness, psychological strain, and that gives the mind very wonderful ideas. I don't feel like doing it. Kill that idea. Remember, is there a mental fatigue? Let me do the relaxation practice. Relax completely. Do the yoga nidra. Move into the deeper relaxation. Which is in my hand, which is my choice. I don't feel like doing it. So let me do the relaxation practice first, mind. Then I will ask you whether you feel like doing it or you don't feel like doing it. It will go away. Mental heaviness. Now that is what we say. But if it continues for a while, then what the mind says? Change the guru, change the practice, change the place, change the people, change the time, things around me to succeed. Success never comes. We continue to fail. We get frustrated. We enter into a deeper state of mental challenges. So it is a good idea that during the day become aware of these thoughts. So before going to sleep, spend only for 5 minutes and ask your mind, what are those thoughts during the day your mind entertained which leads me to dullness, and resolve that I will not have these thoughts. Second thing, that I should be doing the relaxation, 5 or 10 minutes of relaxation practice. Do it again and again. Or even whenever you have time, just with eyes open or closed, you start becoming aware of the major parts of the body again and again until you find the deepening of the sensations of the tingling in the body without doing anything, which is a pointer to the relaxation. So that you see that mental fatigue, overexertion will not drive your mind to the state of the dullness. Third obstacle. Now I've done the practice for so long and there is no result. I have been eating for so long, but my stomach demands every day, 3 times a day or 4 times a day. You don't have a doubt about that, because your mind has an insecurity, a feeling of fear that if you don't eat, you will die. Then why you have a doubt? How come it is taking a long time? Can you say that I have been eating such a long time every day and still the hunger is not fully met, completely done? Why we have 2 divergent opposing views? It is our mind. So what happens then? Third obstacle enters, and third obstacle is known as doubt. So we say, our masters say, that this doubt is a mental disturbance. Some people write to me, tell me, how faster I can remove all these obstacles and the challenges. You are 80 years old. How faster you can run? You are limited by the body and its strength and capacity. Have you increased the mental capacity? Have you become a seeker? If you are a seeker, the result is here and now. So I tell them that check where you stand on the journey. So if you don't realize from where we have our departure point, then we fall back into the doubt. Recently, last week in the group, no, I'm not experiencing the changes as others are experiencing the changes. Why to compare? You see that there are two persons. One person is just standing outside his home. The second person is 1,000 miles away from his home. And I call the first person, where are you? I want to talk to you if you are at home. Oh, no worries. So the first person enters into the home and he says, I'm at my home. I ask the same question to the second person who is 1,000 miles away. Now I want to talk to you when you are at home. It will take a day or two. I'll call you back. So when we don't recognize our own limitation, we fall back into delusion and the doubt takes over. And then we complain how it is possible, how can I do it faster in a day? Knowledge is realized in stages. So the doubt. Another beautiful thing, the moment you have a doubt about this practice, it has come from 10,000 years by the 3,000 teachers and the masters. They have taught us how to reach to the state of total freedom. How can I doubt? So another factor of the doubt is that when the knowledge sleeps, the mind is confused what to do, what not to do. Then what happens? The mind swings like a pendulum. Should I practice? Should I not? And in that doubt, when you do the practice, the mind still says, blames and complains. You see nothing happen. Example of the two people. Some people say that meditation is a wastage of time. You simply close your eyes and you are sitting. Better to do some work for the society. How many millions of people are doing the work for the society? And why you want to work for the society? To forget your own problem? To escape from your challenges that you have in your head? Can you remove all the challenges of your mind inside by engaging yourself into the society? I have just one friend. He has started the journey. He says, when I go to the gym and I do the gym for 3 to 4 hours, as long as I'm doing it, I don't feel there is any anxiety, there is any mental challenge. The moment I stop doing it, I return home, there is a total fear and a chaos in my mind. And now I have started, he says that now I have started realizing that I am finding an escape route to spend too much of time in the gym. But then another problem has come that I feel totally tired during the day. I cannot do my work. See the journey? It's all about the mind, the mental factor. So I explained to him that it is in the nature of the mind to constantly produce new ideas and impulses. First, when we do not let go of our thoughts start ruling us, we get involved in unproductive thoughts and the doubt enters into our life. You see, he was going to the gym again and again, doing it for 3 to 4 hours. He had a strong belief. Now he realized, he's aware. He realized what I'm doing an escape. It is not physical. So what is the solution? Balance, go to the gym, but balance. Not overdo it, so that your fatigue level continues to grow up. It will cause more illnesses. So two elements, doubt. Then what happens? Doubt leads to the confusion. What is confusion? Two opposing thoughts. So what are the two opposing thoughts? They swing in your mind like a pendulum. Not able to decide. When you are not able to decide, the knowledge sleeps. When the knowledge sleeps, the wrong notion takes over your mind. Wrong notion, it is not the wrong notion about yourself or the physical it's a wrong notion about a person or a thing or an event or a condition in your life. I need not to say that women who is suffering from Parkinson to do the practice regularly. She joins the session in a group 10 minutes before. When there is a doubt, confusion, the mind sinks like a pendulum. We overanalyze situations. We hear the opinions of others and we want to follow. Further turmoil in the mind, the doubt destroys our life. There is a saying in our Easternwisdom, Shanshay Atma Vinashyati. The doubt destroys my soul. Means what? Now, lot of mental challenges in our life. But what you doubt, that is the solution. Do you doubt happiness is my essential nature? But you don't doubt your mental suffering? Look at it. That is why you listen to the teacher again and again and again. The teacher gives you a different perspective, different ways of the thinking to clarify the very nature and the movement and the states of the mind to drop this doubt. When we have a doubt, there is another problem. And now you are a seeker, you should get rid of it. We believe instantly what is negative, what is unhappiness, what is sorrow, what is suffering. And we always have a doubt about happiness, about love, about truth, about wisdom. This has become the nature of the mind. We doubt. Oh, can there be a permanent happiness? But we instantly believe, I'm unhappy. Why? I own that unhappiness. Mind, because of its habit, owns that happiness. It likes to own. And it likes to disown the ideas and the thoughts and the principles that I am of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. You see physical disturbances. First obstacle. Second obstacle is the dullness. And the third is doubt. Third is doubt. This is what happens in our life. My master used to say simple thing. First he used to ask, are you intelligent? Yes. Then he says, please go back home, don't come to me. Why? I'm suffering, I have lot of insecurities, I have lot of anxiety. No, use your intelligence to solve the problem. But I'm not able to do it. Then drop the idea that you are intelligent. Your intellect is cheating you. And you have to, my master used to say, that you have come to me with humility, with dedication and sincerity to treat the path. Very good. Second, very striking. It takes me years and years to start implementing and realizing what he said to me. And to everyone. He said, when you are aware that your intelligence, your mind, your intellect, your ego, your resources are not able to solve the problems of your sorrow, suffering, pain, grief, then why don't you start thinking the way our masters have been thinking about life? They are the principles that you have been learning. Doubt. Peace and happiness are my essential nature. My master always used to say this. Keep smiling. And then I extended that also, that you have anger, first smile and then become angry. You are in conflict, first smile, then see what is the conflict. Your mind says, I don't feel like doing it. First have a bigger smile on this thought. Then ask the mind why you don't feel like doing it. So what we are talking of, these principles, is that the master wants that we should start thinking the way these masters are thinking. And the moment you start thinking, you disown. Your mind disowns unhappiness, your mind disowns suffering, your mind disowns sorrow. And then you start thinking the way the masters are thinking, happiness is my essential nature. the first three obstacles goes away, and your mind says, let me do the practice, and when you do the practice, the life changes. Physical disturbances, the first obstacle during the journey, and especially it returns with the itching, fidgeting, mind complaining of the body again and again during the practice. Second is styan, the dullness. And the third is doubt. So in this week, just make a list, whatever the thoughts pertaining to these three disturbances enters into your mind. First become aware, know them, these thoughts have come, and then find out how to deal, how you dealt with the thought. And the fundamental principle is disown them. And what do you own? I'm already, happiness is my essential nature, so I own that happiness in the mind. Mind says, I don't feel doing it, and you say, let me do it, and then I will take care of you, mind. No issue. I have a doubt, let me do it first, and then I will raise the doubt before the teacher to get rid of it. And you will see the problem goes away. We will take up all the other obstacles in our next session. Thank you.